Good morning. Well, it's morning for me, but I'm in a totally different time zone than most of you. I am Jill Aronofsky, SaipanStamper, living on the island of Saipan. The island is on the verge of the Marianas Trench, if you haven't heard of it. Most people haven't. But I've lived here for a long time, and I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator and have been for more than 20 years. And I'm going to show you a more simple card today. I realized I don't make a lot of cards for men. I make a lot of flower cards and things. So I'm in with Father's Day coming up next month. I'm going to concentrate on a little bit more male or unisex type of cards. So I hope you enjoy this one. It's fairly simple. I'm going to change the spotlight and we'll get started. Okay, today I'm going to do a card using the happy birthday stamp. I love these sayings that they're bigger and that they use to mix fonts. That's really fun for me. And we're going to use the tiny little cupcake. And also, I'm not using the textured notes, but I am using the designer series paper Woven Textures, which I truly love. And I'm going to use one of the die cuts from these rectangular die cuts. They each have a different border around the outside, and it just makes a nice little fun extra. I'm also going to use early espresso ink and Calypso Coral, my very, very old classic stamping pad. And if you have the Stampin' Right markers in those colors as well, we're going to use those. Do not use your blender pens. They are just going to color your stamp and never, the covered color will never come off and go anyplace else. So not a good idea. Blender pens are wonderful for many other things. So today I'm going to start with a card base that is I think the regular normal size, 8.5 by 5.5. And I'm just going to fold it in half, press it down with my bone folder, and put that aside. I also have a 4 by 5.25 white cardstock for the inside of my card, and we'll do that later. I'm going to use a 4 by 5.25 designer series paper. This is the Woven Textures. You could use either side. And then I have used another piece from the Woven Textures. This has that very light pattern on it, and I'm going to stamp over it. There's the reverse side. I have already cut this with my die cut. Very good. And you can see it leaves that lovely little border on there. It's just a nice touch. If you don't have the die cuts, you could always cut a rectangle at 4.25 inches by 3.75 inches, and it'll be the same size. So easy peasy. And I have a small little scrap paper for doing the cupcakes. So let's get started with the stamping bit, and then we'll do the assembly. I'm going to, one moment. Okay, so I'm going to use these stamps. This is the cupcake. You can tell it's already been a little discolored from the orange Calypso Coral, and the happy birthday. So first we're going to stamp the happy birthday with early espresso on our rectangle. And just make sure it's well inked. Press it down. Lovely. Close my ink pad. And then we need a couple of the little cupcakes. So I'm going to need to color this with my markers. Now you could use the markers or you could use a blender pen. And if you use the blender pen, you could just pick up some ink. If you squeeze your ink pad really hard, you can get some of this ink to transfer here and use it as a paint palette. You could pick it up that way, like this. So you can do either way. There are other options if you don't have the markers. I bought mine a long time ago and they still are great. And then when they start to dry up a little bit, I just use my Stampin' Up ink refill. And when you color on a stamp image, you really want to lay your brush tip down almost flat against it like this. You don't want to go straight on because then you're just going to mush the tip and ruin the marker. Ask me how I learned that lesson. So I'm going to do this and then I'm going to hold it up to my mouth and huff on it, which means I'm going to give a deep breath like from my belly so that I get warm mist on it. It sounds silly and it feels silly to do, but it makes sure that you have good ink coverage on there and that it's damp. Okay, so there's one. I want to do, whoops. I always, usually I start with the lighter colors. I don't know why I'm doing it like this. I usually start with the lighter colors and work to the dark. But with this cupcake, it's a really close placement between the two pieces. And I just kept getting black on the coral side, and I didn't like the way it looked. Huffing that again. And I'm going to stamp it. I'm going to do one more just in case. So I think I have an example. Oh, this one here is one where I got a little brown on the top here, a little of the espresso, and then it kind of stuck on my marker when I was doing the coral and muddied that up a little bit. So just have to be a little careful, but it's worth the effort and it's not a big landscape to be putting ink on. So I'm going to do a third cupcake. And this one I'm going to put on the inside of my card base. This is the 4 by 5 1/4 that I want to put on the inside, and I'll stamp something for the inside later, but that just gives an extra decoration on the envelope, on the inside. So we have a couple of these and this stamped, and then I've stamped this for the inside of my card. So now all we've got to do is put the card together. It's going to be really easy. Turn this over, and I will use my glue, liquid glue, to go around the edges. 4 by 5 1/4, and then this is just going to go on the front. And the liquid glue allows me to wiggle it around. Press that down. A lot of times I would put this on with dimensionals, but the designer series paper is a little thinner and it's big, so I'm also just going to do glue on this and put this down. Pretty easy card, and I think this card would be nice for anybody. I love this Woven Textures paper. Every design makes me very happy, and not just because I live on an island and it's very rustic, but it's just gorgeous paper. So there is no die cut for the cupcakes, but we just need to get our scissors and trim it out. I know Stampin' Up spoiled us by coming out with such lovely die cuts for pretty much everything we need, but it's not hard to cut this out. And when you're cutting, the tip is to keep the scissors still and to move your paper back and forth around it. It gives you a smoother edge to your cutting. And all it takes is practice. People tell me they don't like to do it, but it's really not that bad. And it just takes about a minute to run your scissors around here once you get used to moving the paper and holding the scissors still. And going slowly. So that's it. So then I'm going to put dimensionals behind these. And where'd my dimensionals go? Here's some little ones they'll do. 1, 2. 2, take the backings off. And then place them on here. And that is pretty much it. I also have some of the rustic metallic dots left. And I will pick some of these up and put them on here. One, just for another little confetti-like type of design. I don't like that one on the brown. It doesn't show up. There. And that's the easy card for today. I will put this in. I usually put it in with glue dots. You know, my theory behind this is that whoever gets it could just fry up the 4 glue dots and put another white card in and recycle the card. I don't know if that happens, but I do know some ladies who do recycle pieces of cards. So there's hope. And put that in. And then for my envelope, I usually do a cut a 6 by, what's it called? 2 3/8 piece of designer series paper. And that gives me enough to completely cover the envelope flap and put it on top and trim around it. And that way it matches and it lets people know that something wonderful is in the envelope. And I think it just makes it look more professional and lovely. So why not be a little extra? So that's the card in the envelope for today. And pretty much anyone would love to receive this. So I hope you make one. Let me know if you do. Please share my design with others so that I can reach more people. I would appreciate that. And I appreciate you watching. Thank you.